just don't want to do that.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
What is it? What does your accent sound like?
I get really American. My accent's already older. Because I hang out with too many Americans.
Oh,
so thanks.
no.
It's your fault.
We're not that bad.
I mean, it's not bad. Oh, no, I can see my face.
It's okay, because you're beautiful, so...
It's alright. I liked it. I'm comfortable now, so I'm not scared anymore. I can see my face now. It's fine.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Autumn, and I talk about the JET program, Japan, all that. Anyway, the point of this is I have a guest, and I'm so excited, y'all. I'm so excited. Like, do you know how hard I was? Oh, my heart was going doki doki, okay? Whew. I have...
Hi.
Joanne.
No, that's not my name. Joanna.
She says it weirder than Americans say it.
It's just different. I go by Jojo, so Americans
Jojo.
get confused. So you
Jojo.
can call me Jojo.
Okay, so I guess we're just gonna dive right into it,
Okay.
so it's easy for them.
Okay.
Y'all got stuff to do. We got stuff to do. It's hot. Okay. So, question number 1. We already know your name, Jojo.
Yes.
So, what is your age and what year did you get here?
Okay, so I'm 29 now. I came to Japan when I was 23, so that was 2017. And I've been here for 6 years.
Yes, she is a 6-year jet.
Yes, and I came from Australia.
Yes, she came from Australia, which I've never been, but like, this is the coolest Australian person I've ever met. Like, oh my god. Okay, so my next question is, are you a city jet, an Inaka jet, or in the middle?
I can comfortably say that I'm a city jet. Fukushima is a city. It's like the population is like 300,000 in Fukushima City, which to me feels like a city.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Tokyo, but it's not like...
It's definitely not Inaka.
Yeah. It's...
And I'm lucky enough to like live centrally in the city, so I feel city enough.
Good, okay. My next question is, what grades do you teach, and how many schools do you teach at?
Guys, the answer is going to be probably more complicated than you think it's going to be.
Okay.
Because I am elementary and junior high school. Employed by the Board of Education, so not by a specific school, like how high school ALTs are. So when I arrived in my first year, I was only elementary school, and I had 10 schools.
10 schools?
Yeah, so they really varied in size. My smallest school had about 10 students when I started there, and my biggest school was 3 classes per grade. So that really meant that every week was completely different. There was no like, you go to this school on Monday and then you go to this school on Tuesday. It was like every week was just a complete surprise. So we would get a schedule for a term, and then you just had to like look every day to be like, which school am I going to? What do I have to organize for? Because I taught different grades at every school. Because at the smaller schools you can teach from 1st until 6th. But at the larger schools you only have time to teach like 5th and 6th grade. And so that was really like getting thrown in the deep end. But when I arrived 6 years ago, it was easier because the textbook was easier and the content was easier, so I could do that.
Yeah.
I really hope that doesn't happen to anyone now. So in my 6 years, I have had 3 different elementary school textbooks, which has been fun. So when I arrived, I had 10 schools, and they were just elementary school. And then in my second year, I got 3 junior highs and had 5 elementary schools. So my total was still 8. And then in my next year, I had 2 junior highs and 4 elementary schools. And then COVID happened and things got a bit messed up because ALTs were leaving without getting any in. So I got some extra junior highs and some extra elementary schools to fill the gaps. And then now I am comfortably on 1 junior high, and it's like related elementary school, and 1 tiny elementary school.
Oh.
Separate from that in the middle of nowhere. So in total, I have been to about 30 schools. Yeah. I told you it was more complicated than we thought.
Oh, that is complicated. That is so complicated. 30 schools in 6 years.
Yeah, so I've started at a lot of different schools and I've said goodbye to a lot of different schools, and so like I've really taught with the whole variety of like different kinds of teachers and different kinds of students.
Oh my god, my heart wouldn't be able to take it. I get attached to people. And
Well,
I'd be
some
like,
of them I was really glad to leave. Actually, one school, because the system now is we have one ALT for every junior high school, and previously we didn't have as many ALTs, and so it's only been in the last like 3 years that any ALT in Fukushima has had the stability that we have now of having a base school and knowing that you'll stay at that school.
oh.
Before that, it was very common for ALTs to change every year. So at the end of my second year, I actually said, do not send me back to this particular junior high school. I will quit. Do not make me go there. Because it was awful. And I also had to say, do not make any woman ever go there ever again.
Oh no. And I can only imagine what was happening. So
some of the goodbyes were happy for me.
yeah. I feel like the goodbyes would be difficult. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. That was a lot.
No, it was informative. I enjoyed it. Okay. Number 4. Do you like your placement?
I do.
Why do you like your placement?
I really do. I'm really like, I feel like I won the lottery getting randomly placed in Fukushima. Because I didn't ask for it. It just so happened that I ended up here. And I'm so grateful. Because like the city is great and my schools are great. And the ALT community here is just like so amazing. The location of Fukushima is like deceptively convenient.
It's prime.
Yeah. Especially for me being right in the city. Like I could walk to a Shinkansen stop. So like all of Japan is open to me so easily.
Yeah.
I can be in Tokyo in 2 hours. Like I love that.
It's so, you're so blessed because I like where I stay, but because I'm further out, it's just like an extra hurdle
more, yeah.
that I have to get to Fukushima Station, and then I can go anywhere my heart desires. So it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
But when you applied, where did you want to stay?
So my sister actually lives in Tokyo, and she had been here for a few years by the time I was applying. So my only request was I would like to be in Tokyo or near Tokyo, able to visit her, which I think they took into account.
Okay.
Basically in my interview I was like, please just list on this island.
Don't put me in Okinawa, please.
So yeah, I'm glad I ended up here.
Oh, yeah. So that's just to show that sometimes they do listen to your preferences. I guess it just depends on who's checking your stuff.
Yeah, and they might listen in ways that you don't think of. It's like, I didn't ask for Fukushima, I didn't ask for Tohoku, but they like did think enough. Let's make it easier for her to
get where she needs to go.
Get where she wants to go.
Yeah. I don't know. I just was like, don't put me in the middle of bum nowhere, like, because I will lose my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, I am a city girl. I am a suburbs girl, actually. More of a suburbs girl, but still.
Yeah. If Fukushima had been any smaller of a city, I think it might have driven me insane. Like, this is just as small as I can handle.
It's big enough.
Yeah, but it is definitely big enough.
Yeah.
And also, I couldn't be put deep in Naka because I can't drive, so.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe pretend you can't drive.
I mean, I debated not checking the driving thing, but I was like, what if they put me somewhere
Some
crazy?
people who can't drive still get really, like, crappy placements. It's like, oh yeah, you can't drive, but I think you can walk an hour and a half to school.
Yeah, you can bike 6 hours. Go ahead. It's no problem.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them. Number 5. So, what teaching challenges have you had over time, and how did you get over them? Like, I'm sure you've had, like, a ton, so just pick, like, your favorites.
The hardest thing for me, probably, is that in elementary school, especially when I arrived, the expectation was that I would just teach the classes on my own.
Yeah.
Just completely T1 all the time. Which, to be fair, I could do when I arrived with that curriculum. Anyone arriving now, I would not expect to be able to do that. And it was just pure luck that I could, and I had enough ALTs around me to, like, prepare me for that.
Yeah. That sounds like stress level 10.
I do remember in my first class, because, like, I had 10 schools, right? So I was doing self-introduction for a long time. And I remember at the end of my first, like, real class, it was like 10 minutes left and I had run out of things to do and I literally just stood there and went, I don't know what to do. Which luckily, I'm so lucky now because I look back and that homeroom teacher was one of the most capable women that I have ever worked with and she knew what to do.
Oh my God.
But there are some idiots that I have worked with who wouldn't have known what to do in that situation. So I am blessed that it happened with her and not one of my other morons, but...
Oh no. It's honestly one of my fears of being T1 because I've witnessed you could have the perfect lesson plan and the kids will just mess it up.
Yeah.
They won't participate.
They just don't think it's fun.
They don't know. They don't think it's fun.
They'll never understand the rules, no matter what language you explain them in.
You're just like, oh. I've seen perfect lesson plans just go down because the kids just... And it's not like they're bad kids. It's just sometimes you got that one that's just not doing it today. I'm just like, okay, it's fine. Maybe tomorrow. Okay. I don't think I have the patience for that. I'm not there, so. Whew. But yeah, no, that's a challenge for real.
Yeah.
I would be stressed.
Yeah. And I can do it now. Now I show up to T1 with absolutely nothing. I just come to school and I'm just like, what are we doing? This page? Done. So after 6 years, I'm pretty good at it. But in the beginning, it was difficult.
Yeah.
And just like a mismatch of expectations between me and the teachers is the biggest challenge. And it's a struggle for me because when I came, I didn't speak any Japanese. Like, you know, the basics, but hardly none.
Same.
And the way around that is if you need to, and people are like, oh, do this, and you can't do it, just don't. Just stand there and do nothing. They'll work it out. Just leave. Yeah.
You're just like, I can't do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good advice, actually. Luckily, all my teachers are capable, thank God.
Excellent. Love to hear it.
I dread the day I get an incompetent one. I'm just like, oh, no. Number 6. What's one thing that you wish you did differently on Jet?
I don't know. I don't have a lot of regrets or anything. I maybe wish that I could have traveled more, but that's not really anything I could help because a lot of my time here was COVID time.
Yeah.
Like
3 years of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a lot of regrets. If anything, I wish I had stood up for myself more against teachers just being incompetent, lazy idiots. But I think I did that pretty well, and I definitely did that more than most of my co-workers ever have, so...
Yeah. Jojo is infamous for standing up for herself, no matter
and
the
everyone
situation.
Else. I worry about the rest of the ALTs in Fukushima after I leave. You're like, oh, you're gonna have to fight your own battles for once.
Oh, they're not gonna. But yeah, Fukushima's great, but a lot of the ALTs don't know how to have a backbone with certain things, and Jojo is not one of those ALTs. Yeah. She is like, no, I'm not doing that. You're an idiot, and you're going to get it right, and we're going to do this the right way. Yeah. And I love that. That's why I love that.
It's got to be said sometimes.
Yes.
People need to know when they're stupid, otherwise they'll keep being stupid.
That is true.
So this video doesn't get me in trouble.
How did you handle JTEs that were difficult? Because I know we've got a few. And you've been to 30 schools, so I know you've got difficult ones.
Yeah. So my biggest advice always, my co-workers are so sick of hearing me say this, is hold your own boundaries, because no one else is going to hold your boundaries for you. And so if you have a JT who keeps coming to you 5 minutes before class and says, oh, do you have an activity for this? If the answer is no, just say no.
Yeah. And
if you keep struggling and pulling stuff together last minute, they're just going to keep asking you last minute.
Yeah.
And as soon as I start being like, no, I can't do that. No, I can do that, but I can do it next week. Then they shape up and start giving you things earlier. But I listen to my co-workers have the same problem over and over again. And being like, oh, I didn't get a schedule. Oh, I didn't get told what to prepare for, and now I have to prepare in the next 10 minutes. I'm like, well, just don't do that. And then you won't have to do that.
Yeah.
And before anyone has the comment of, oh, but the kids don't deserve for you to not come to class. No, my kids deserve for me to come to my classes with my best. And if the teacher isn't allowing me to do that, then I'm not going to come to my class with that I have just come up with in the past 10 minutes. Like, they deserve to have the best version of me.
Yeah.
And so I need to have the resources to deliver the best version of me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel like that's a life lesson hack. Like, at any job, take that advice, you guys. At any job, because supervisors and other coworkers you tell them yes once and they will walk right over you every time.
Yeah.
So just like I have learned over the years to like not work as hard, because if you show that you work hard, they just give you more to do.
Yeah.
And they don't say thank you, so I just do the bare minimum. Like, it's fine.
Especially in this job, like, you can be a good ALT and you can be a great ALT, and at the end of the day, like,
the kids
you're gonna
still
get the
won't
same
remember.
reviews.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not gonna affect your future if you adjust 80% instead of 120%. Like,
Yeah.
oh, now I can see my face.
It's okay, because you're beautiful, so...
It's alright, I liked it. I'm comfortable now, so I'm not scared anymore. I can see my face now, it's fine.
Okay, so my next question is, what is one misconception about Jet that you'd like to debunk? And anything is okay. Like, literally anything.
Misconception. Oh, that... People love to be like, I didn't learn any real skills on Jet. All I learned was to be, like, a clown and entertain people, or all I did was, like, teach, and, like, nothing that I've done here is applicable to my future, because I don't want to be a teacher, or whatever. I don't want to be a teacher, and I have, like, gained so many skills, and so much life experience here.
Yeah.
And if you come out of this experience being like, oh, well, I didn't really, like, learn anything, I had no professional development or anything, like, that's on you.
Sounds like a personal
Like,
problem.
yeah, sorry you're boring, but, I can't help you.
Yeah. I feel like people that say that are probably not considering the whole living in a foreign country by yourself as a...
No, but the people saying this are people who have been, like, on the program. Like,
really?
they'll live here for 3 years and be like, yeah, I was just, like, a clown, and, like, nothing mattered. I'm just like, yeah, well, sorry you couldn't learn anything, but you didn't try to learn anything.
What? I've learned so much. I've only been here for a year.
Yeah, because you're not stupid.
Yeah, definitely not.
So even if you don't want to be a teacher, you can, like, get a lot of valuable experience and, like, professional experience and, like, communication skills and just, like, working skills.
Number 9. So why did you choose to come to Japan, and do you feel like you've grown since you got here? It's about to be hilarious,
No,
isn't it?
well, I think it sounds a little bit silly sometimes when I tell people, like, how I decided to come on the JET program. Because some people, like, have been dreaming of it since they, like, started high school, and they're like, I've, like, based my whole life around, I want to eventually come to Japan on the JET program and see what happens from there.
Yeah.
So what happened with me was, I was in my last year of university, and I had an extra elective that I had to choose something to do. And because my sister already lived in Japan, I was like, I could do, like, Japanese, like, 101. That'd be fun. And so I did that. And I was in my honors year.
Yeah.
So I was doing an honors project. So we had a very small class. There was only 5 people in my class. And I was sitting talking to one of my tutors. And he saw my timetable. And it said that I had Japanese next. And he was like, oh, you're studying Japanese? And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, this sort of be fun. And he goes, have you heard of the JET program? And I was like, nah, what's that? And he told me about it. And he goes, I think you would be good at it and it would be good for you. And I went, Dion's a smart man. Like, he's got a PhD. I trust him. And so I looked into it and I applied. And here I am 6 years later.
Oh my gosh.
He wrote me my letter of recommendation, and when he gave it to me, he made me promise to stay for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Which was the best advice ever. He said, you'll spend the first year just trying to work out what is going on. So promise me you'll stay for at least 2. And I went, alright. And now, 6 years later. Thanks, Dion. Changed my whole life. One conversation. It sounds very silly, but yeah.
Yeah. That's actually, like, he legit changed your
He
whole
really
life.
did.
Like,
And I don't even think I ever actually told him
thank you.
thank you properly. Like, when he gave me the recommendation, I said thank you. But I told him when I got in, but maybe I should look him up.
Oh, well, if you ever see this video, she's appreciative.
I'll send it to him.
That's, oh my gosh. So.
Yeah.
Wow. It's such an opposite story of most people.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I heard about it, decided to try, and I got in. It's just like, oh.
It was just the way he went, you would be good at it and it would be good for you. Because at this point, like, he knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a much less capable person back then. So I was like, Dion thinks this will be good for me. Okay, I'll do something that's good for me.
Yeah.
I would just tell you, I always say this, it's a very tangible way that I know that I have grown. I used to be the kind of person who was afraid to make a phone call. Like, no, I can't call and make my own doctor's appointment. And now literally I don't care. Like, I'm just like, oh, I can do it in Japanese. I can do it in English. Like, I can do anything. I think being in Japan has made me realize how just capable I actually am
Of doing stuff.
to
Yeah.
like sort my out and get things done.
Yeah. I like that for you. Because there's so many Jets here that just are so scared to do. Like, you already did the hard part. You're already here. What are you afraid of? I'm just like, I'm going to call this hospital and I'm not going to know what they're saying, but I am going to get an appointment.
Actually, I have advice on that. This is something I was talking with my other friends about the other day, that I learned. We got time? Okay.
Yeah.
I learned this from an ALT who used to live in Fukushima City as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just from like watching her interact with people. Her Japanese was not great, but her communication style was just amazing, because I realized she goes into every conversation viewing herself and the other person as equal partners in like the responsibility of understanding. Because so many foreigners here have this like shame about like, oh, it's fully on me to make sure other people understand because I am the foreigner in this situation. But that's not how a conversation works.
Yeah.
Like, it's just as much on them to try to understand you and to try to be understood as it is on you to have that responsibility. So try to remember that.
That is, where were you when I was applying? Because that is such good, that's really good, like, advice. It's something to ring in your head, because it's not really all on me.
It's not.
Like, you guys gotta try too. And you'll be surprised how much English these Japanese people actually know.
Yeah.
I'm
Once you
convinced
start
that they
like pushing
know.
them and just being like, we're gonna get through this.
Yeah.
Their attitude will switch and be like, okay, we're gonna get through this.
I could see that. Them being really apprehensive about it. Okay. My last question.
Okay.
Well, I technically have another question, but I'll ask that like later. If it cuts off,
Okay.
I'll just okay. So, what advice would you give to a new or incoming Jet?
Well, other than, like I said before, hold your boundaries because no one else will hold them for you. Don't fall for the trap of, oh, but this is how it's always been. If how it's always been is bad, fight against it.
Fix it.
Like, oh, but the ALT always stays until 7 on Wednesdays with no, like, compensatory leave, like, with nothing. They just always do. If you don't want to, don't do it.
It's a breach of contract, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And, like, you move into an ALT apartment that, you know, is full of roaches and mold. Like, oh, but this is where the ALT has always lived. Be like, well, yeah, that's good for the past 30 years of people, but I can't live here.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to at least try. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, stand your ground. Okay, so we're back. I have one last question, and it's an important one, and I figured you guys would all have this question. Jojo, please explain how you are a 6th year Jet, because usually the program is just 5 years. You are considered a unicorn past the 3rd year because most people leave within the 3rd year. And then after that, you're supposed to leave. So, what happened?
The short answer is COVID happened. Actually, my plans were mostly to stay until 3 years, but then by the end of my 3rd year, it was like the height of COVID. It was the middle of 2020, and I was like, I'm gonna stay where I have a house for free and a job that won't fire me. It seems like the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
And then after that, lots of Fukushima ALTs historically stay for all 5 years because it's such a good deal, such a good place to live. I do live in this house for free, which is a big thing for keeping ALTs around. And it's just such a nice city with such a good community. Lots of people stay for 5 years. But the story of me being off in my 6th year was, so you actually decide really early whether or not you're going to recontract for the following year. So the contracts start around the beginning of August. So you're from August until July. And we have our interviews for recontracting in December, the end of December and the beginning of January. So from what I thought was my final interview in January, I went in thinking, if they offer me a 6th year, I might consider it, but I don't think they will because COVID was really pretty much over by then. And we were getting in new ALTs, so I didn't think that it was going to happen. And then it didn't happen. They didn't offer me a 6th year. And I was like kind of sad about it, but I was like, it's time for me to leave. And then about a month later, so at the beginning of February, I walk into school and I had class at 9:25 and I got to school at about 9, which is kind of shit. But I got to school at 9.
School started at 8.
And I sat down at my desk and my office guy comes in and he was like panicked and he goes, you need to call the BOE. And I was like, what have you done? What is going on? And then he goes, do you know how to use the phone? And I was like, no. so he called the BOE for me and he's like, I need to talk to like my supervisor. And he hands me the phone and my supervisor is on the other line and he goes, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what's going on? And he goes, I can offer you a 6th year, but you need to tell me today. And I was like, by when today? And he goes, by 10. And I had class at 9:25. And he was like, can you give me an answer by 10? I need to know by 10. And I was like, okay, I can give you an answer by 10. And he like keeps apologizing. I was like, shut up, I need to call someone. And then I hung up the phone and it gave it back to my office guy and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, don't talk to me. And then I grabbed my phone and I messaged every group chat I've ever been a part of. And I was like, everyone in my life tell me what to do right now. Like the other ALTs, past ALTs, my friends, my family, my mum. I'm just like, everybody, what do I do? Tell me, I have no time. And then I called my boyfriend who currently lives in Canada. And I was just like, what do I do? Tell me what to do. And he luckily understands the situation because he was previously an ALT in Fukushima. And so I was like, baby, what do I do? And I'm on the phone to him in the like entryway of the school, just like pacing and having the most tense conversation. And I was meant to teach 1st grade, like little baby Ichinense. And they come to get me for class with their teacher and they like stroll up and this teacher, who I don't know very well at all, looks at me on the phone, just like sees my face, I guess, grabs the children by like the backs of their shirts and just backs up around the corner and just takes them away. She was just like, Jonah Sensei's not ready for us. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna give her some time. And I'm so grateful for her in that moment. She just looked at me and she was like, not right now. And then, it's gonna sound silly, but my boyfriend is very like, he like believes in like the power of like the universe. He's like, this is a sign. And he goes, baby, I think this is an act of God. You should do it. And I was like, okay, he says I should do it. And like realistically, like logistically worked out, because my ultimate plan now is that I'm gonna move to Canada and be with him. And I'm just like, because he's in law school right now, and I was like, it makes sense for me to have a job for 1 year longer while he's not earning any money. I can be the more responsible one in the relationship, earn some money, you know? Yeah, and then I messaged my supervisor and I was like, I'm in! Cool! And that's it!
I want to be offered a 6th year. I don't ever want to leave. But I don't know. It's not really not common. It's not common at all. So don't get your hopes up for that, guys, because...
And it does sound crazy that I made the decision in literally like 15 minutes, but like I was thinking back to at the end of December when I thought to myself, if they offered me a 6th year, I would probably take it. And so I feel like I actually have made the decision in December.
Yeah.
And then I just needed to make sure that it was okay.
Wow.
Yep. It was wild.
That is wild. Like, I'm thinking it was some magical situation where like someone got fired and they were like, we need you.
It was a mess. It was a whole ass mess. It was.
But if we're being honest, that like mess is how you can describe most Japanese systems. Like they're just
Oh yeah.
they're the most unorganized things in the world.
I was not surprised that my BOE would do this to me in the slightest. I'm just like, yeah, this checks out. This seems like something you would do.
This sounds about right. Like, oh wow. Well, thank you so much for answering all my questions. If you guys have any questions for Jojo, please put them in the comments. I will try to get her to answer my questions. Y'all don't understand. Like, I'm so happy that she's here. Like, I'm so happy. So yeah, if you have any questions, she's got 6 years of knowledge, like way more than me.
Yeah.
Please put them down below. I will shoot them to her and have her answer them for you. With that being said, we are going to go because we have tea to talk about and maybe drink. I don't really drink tea, but you know, it's fine.
You gonna find out?
So, bye-bye. And then this is usually the part where I just talk about whatever.
Okay.
But I don't know what to talk about. You did really good. Like, oh my god. Like, what? You should start a YouTube channel.
I actually have one.
She has a YouTube.
I haven't posted on it in like 5 years. But I think I chronicled like, there's only like 4 videos, but I chronicled like a whole year.
I would watch it, so please let me know.
You might have seen it. I don't know, you would recognize me.
Yeah, I would have recognized you.
But yeah, you can link that probably.
Okay, I'll link it. I'll link it for you guys.
I just want to see what Fukushima looks like.
Yeah, I'll link it for you guys. So, cause, wow. Okay, all right. So, peace. We out. We outie 3000.
We did it.
Yay! Thank you.